All right, back for another beer review, and today I'll be reviewing yet another beer from the Boulevard Brewing Company, and they're out of Kansas City, Missouri, and this is their proper pour, the 2023 limited release. So they're calling this one Imperial Stout, double aged in Cabernet wine barrels and whiskey barrels. It comes in at 12.6% alcohol by volume, 30 IBUs at the time of review. And this bottle is approximately 3 months old. So I want to give a quick thanks and a shout out to a good friend of mine and viewer of the channel, Ryan, for the inspiration to pick this one up. He actually checked this one into Untapped back in late March of this year, and he was loving it. So I checked out the beer and I was like, you know what, that sounds delicious. And I told him I would grab this one if I saw it here in the Buffalo, New York area. And he was like, well, if you don't, I'll send you one, because Ryan's a great dude and very generous. And I was like, nah, I think we'll see it. And sure enough, when I was picking up shelfy beers for the month of May 2023, this one was on the shelf at the store I went to. So really excited about this one. I really like Boulevard's barrel-aged beers. There's more hits than misses from them, and they're usually well priced and readily available, and that is the case with this one. So let's crack it open and get in the glass and see what we got going on. Now, this is 3 months old, but they do have a best by date of about a year away. So this was bottled on, it looks like, February 10th of 2023, and has a best enjoy by date of February 9th of 2 years, February 9th of 2025. So they give you 2 years to enjoy this one. I'm sure this would hold up even longer, but I'm drinking it now. So, oh yeah, it's looking beautiful. See if we can try to get ahead here with a little bit. We'll swirl it up and see what we got going on here. But yeah, that definitely looked like an Imperial Stout. Maybe not as thick and viscous as like a motor oil pouring out, but definitely looked Imperial. There is alcohol, just sheets. There's not legs, there's sheets on the glass. So yeah, so this is pitch black in the glass. It has about a half finger of a very dark brown colored head, super creamy looking. Hold it up to the glass, you can't see through it. Although at the bottom here, kind of looks like a root beer or something. It has like a lighter brown kind of tinge, but everywhere else it's like pitch black. I'd imagine this looks more like a dark red or like a dark brown than a pitch black, but whatever the case may be, like I said, there's alcohol legs. Kind of looks exactly like I thought it would in the glass. Let's get a nose. Yeah, I mean, there is so much barrel here. And again, you're getting both the wine and the whiskey. I'm almost getting like chocolate covered, like cherries if the cherry was like under ripened. So it's not like super sweet. There's also, you know, nice grape quality to it. Like a red grape. There's oak. You can just smell the oakiness. There's a vanilla there, the vanillin. Underlying though, there's a lot of like caramelized sugars, your brown sugar. There's caramel. There's even like a molasses kind of tinge. There's a lot of dark chocolate. A little bit of like I say more charred malt than anything. So like it's not quite roasty. It's a little bit past that. It smells beautiful. And there's something here that I rarely say in general when I do barrel age reviews. There's a little bit of like a tobacco kind of leathery thing going on. It definitely smells boozy. This definitely smells like it's, 10+%, probably close to 12 if I was doing the blind. The barrels are screaming. I'm getting a lot of the whiskey. I'm getting a lot of the wine. And and you just can smell it, this is a bigger beer. I just kind of want to sit here and smell it. Now I'm kind of getting, if you've ever had like a cacao bar, like say a 50 to like 80% cacao bar that has actually like fruits in it, this kind of smells if you would have like, again, cherries or like maybe like dates. I just want to sit here and smell this. This fucking smells awesome. I can see why Ryan went nuts about it. Now we'll see if the taste lives up to the nose, but the nose is spectacular. Yeah, let's get into it. Cheers, everybody. Holy shit. This is going to be a longer review. I'm probably going to rant multiple times for no reason other than it just popped into my head. The value of beers nowadays, and I'm guilty of this. I'm a hypocrite. Calling myself on this issue. But I'll tell you the price point and availability of this at the end. But let's just really quick say, In my area, this was $16.99 a 4-pack. Might be cheaper in your area, slightly more expensive. But if you're paying $4 to $5 for that bottle, you're talking about almost 13%, 12 fluid ounce bottle of an Imperial Stout that's double barrel aged. That is a fantastic value nowadays. People pay the same thing for an 8% double IPA. Pay the same thing for a 5% heavily fruited sour. In fact, this is almost 13%. And it's double barrel aged. It has this kind of flavors. And you're paying, $4 to $5 for a bottle of it. Yeah, I know those come in 16-ounce cans, whatever the case may be. But like I'm saying, like the value is crazy for something like this. And this is a shelfie beer. I walk into my local bottle shop and it's on the shelf. There's no line out the door or whatever. It's just, this is a fucking fantastic beer. It is. It's fantastic. The one thing that will stop us from getting a 5 out of 5, I'll tell you right from the get-go, it's a bit thin. It's almost 13%. It's a bit thin. This is like low to medium full body. I want to see a little bit more viscous, a little bit thicker, because it's almost 13%. I don't want to necessarily have to chew the beer or like drinking it feeling like I have motor oil in my mouth, which if I did that'd be a problem. But it has to have a little bit more viscosity to it, just a little bit. So that's going to be a knock on it. And when you start thinking about, is this a 5 out of 5? Is this a perfect beer for what I'm wanting out of it? You got to start breaking it down, and that will stop from a 5 out of 5. The mouthfeel, however, is a decent carbonation. It's mild to moderately carbonated, but it has a softness to it, a smoothness, an almost creamy sensation to it that makes up for it. The taste is phenomenal. Like, it's super complex, but not in a way that's confusing. Because sometimes beers are so complex that like you get like 8 to 10 different characters all over your palate. Maybe they don't work in a perfect cohesion. Maybe they don't go together as well as you would hope they do. Maybe it's disjointed to some degree, but this isn't, but it's still super complex. Forefront, first thing I taste. A combination of a charred, like I'd say more roasted, charred in the nose, more roasted malt. So it's the base beer, hits me right to the tongue. But then I get right away the wine barrel, and it's giving me that, grapey, kind of like red grape, but almost cherry-esque kind of like tartness. As it passes through, the chocolate hits, and that's where like chocolate-covered cherries hit, maybe like a chocolate-covered grape or maybe like a chocolate-drizzled grape. As it continues through, though, more of the base beer starts coming forefront. I'm getting a little bit of like a medium roasted coffee. There's caramel, there's molasses, there's brown sugar. There's not confectionery, there's burnt sugars more than confectionery. And that's all hitting me the first half of the palate. Midway through the palate is where a lot of that sweetness from the malt, from the beer in general, kind of starts to dissipate a little bit. The oak tannins come in. They produce a little bit of vanilla, but also a drying oak sensation. And usually I'm kind of bummed out. I don't love dry oak tannin feelings on my back of my palate, but I think it works well in this one. It's almost you just had a popsicle stick and you're getting at the end of it. That's kind of like the lingering kind of flavor for me. It also has a mild to moderate bitterness. Is more, I'd say mild in terms of bitterness, but it's very dry. So it's almost like a dry red wine. I'm getting slight hints of like the whiskey, very slight. Has like a peppery kind of like sweet, like caramel kind of vibe to the whiskey itself. It's so fucking good. The finish is what kind of sells me on it, because it is very sweet and kind of like intense the first half of the palate, and on the back of the palate it dries out immensely. And I like that lingering like vanilla oak kind of like slight whiskey-esque feeling to it. 12.6%, I can definitely feel it in the chest. I feel it in my head. Like I'm drinking and I'm starting to get a little warming sensation. There's not astringent on the palate or anything, but it's definitely damn good. This is definitely a sipper, but not because it's boozy or too big, or there's something that kind of stops it from being like it's 12.6% double barrel-aged beer. It's a sipper. And because it's complex and has a lot of different fantastic tasting notes, I want to sit here and savor each sip as opposed to just like taking this down pretty quickly. I'm probably going to drink this over the next, 45 minutes to an hour and just enjoy my one beer for the day and just, have a good time with it. So yeah, Ryan, you're correct, man. A lot of times viewers of the channel will recommend beers, or I'll see them post stuff on Untappd and I'll be like, oh, I'm going to pick that up. Sounds good. And the beauty I think about craft beer, and what makes it fun is we all don't have, exact matching palates. Like there's a lot of folks that I'll match, 85, 90% of the time, but that means for every 10 beers that we agree on, there's one beer that we don't, or for every 9 beers we agree on, there's one that we don't. And that's the beauty about it. You can't agree on everything. Just like I always say, there's, if you love a brewery, you're not going to love every beer from them. They're going to make a couple stinkers for your palate. And when I saw Ryan post that, I'm like, yeah, he gave it a 4. I think he gave it like a 4.75 or maybe a 5 out of 5. And I'm like, is it really that good? It is that good. And, Ryan and I, our palates align to a certain degree, and I'm glad they aligned here because I'm happy I picked that one up. I'm glad I'm drinking it right now, and I will say this is a fucking delicious beer. So I'm going to pour the rest of my glass because, again, I'm going to sit after I turn off the camera and just kind of, drink on the rest of this one. But, like, if you get Boulevard in your area and you can pick this up, as a single, I wouldn't advocate buying a 4-pack because it's a 13% double barrel-aged Imperial Stout. You might not want to drink 4 of them, or even if you want to age them. I would just buy a single unless you really like Boulevard. But I'd highly recommend it. Like, it's worth it. So rating on Boulevard's Proper Pour, the 2023 limited release. Yeah, that's a 4.75 out of 5 all day. Like I said, the only thing keeping it from getting perfect scores, I think the body's a bit thin for me, honestly. And that stops it from getting a 5 out of 5. If the body was a bit more viscous and had a little bit more thickness to it, this would, without question, be a 5 out of 5 for me. But you can't throw out 5 out of 5s willy-nilly. There's got to be a rhyme or reason to it, and it's still 4.75 out of 5. Price point availability, again, $16.99 a 4-pack for this in my area, $4.25 a bottle, all day, every day. And availability, I have no idea. It's Boulevard. If you see Boulevard in your area, you might be able to see this. You might not. I don't know. If you do see some of their limited releases, this is one of the newer limited releases from them. So I would say this beer is worth searching out. If you get Boulevard in your area and this sounds like something you want to try, search it out. Go to a couple different beer stores. Maybe call a couple different beer stores. See if this showed up, because this is good enough to me where, like, if I've never had it before, I would seek it out. Again, I went to my local bottle shop. I looked for it. If they didn't have it there, I probably would have went to another one just to see if they had it. I'm happy I grabbed it. So thanks, Ryan, for the inspiration. If anybody has had this beer before outside of Ryan, post in the comment section. But Ryan, you post in the comment section too if you want. Almost like excluding you from that, but I'm not. I'd love to hear anybody else who's had this one. I think they released this before, maybe last year, and it was a different, I think it was a different wine barrel. So if you had last year's variant of this one, let me know what you thought about that one, or if you've had this year's. I'm really curious to hear people's thoughts on beers. I've had some comments recently like, "Oh, I'm happy that like you respond to the viewers of your channel," and it's like, it's crazy to me that there's people who are a small channel like mine where you wouldn't respond to comments, and there's people who do that, and hey, everybody's different. But like, to me, the best part about having a beer tubing channel and reviewing beer on YouTube in general is hearing what you guys think, whether you agree with me or disagree with me or what you're drinking. That's the whole point of this channel. So if I wasn't responding to comments, I would feel terrible. Like, I just would. So whatever. Anyway, appreciate it. Till the next one. Cheers. Like I said, 12.6%. Yeah, you can taste it, but I don't give a shit. I'm sipping on this one over the next hour. I'm probably going to be feeling real good. I'll be honest with you. I don't know if you've noticed over the past like 3 or 4 minutes, but I'm starting to kind of have to think about what I'm saying because the alcohol's starting to hit me a little bit. So like by the time I get down to the end of this glass, I'm probably going to be feeling real good about it, but hopefully that's about an hour away. Anyway, to the next one. Cheers.